I think one of the reasons that this campaign is really important is that, we on the sidewalk, those of us who are in pregnancy centers, we need the resources. We need to know where we can send these women. So if I'm talking to a woman, she says, oh no, I'm just here to get an annual exam. Great. I know exactly where you can go. I know the address. I know where it is. I can pull it up on my phone. I can show you where it is. And that's what this Grassroots Defunding Planned Parenthood initiative is all about, is showing women that there are other options out there, that Planned Parenthood is not the best place for them to go. And that's why all of us need to be supporting it, because truly this is the way for women to get better health care services.
Why is it good to send women to community health centers instead of Planned Parenthood?
So at Planned Parenthood, we never had comprehensive health care. So we have extremely limited gynecological health care. So no OB-GYNs. If you have high blood pressure, we can't help you. If you have diabetes, we can't help you. High cholesterol, all those things, high blood pressure, nothing. We can't help you with any of that. So what we'd have to do is we'd have to refer you to a federally qualified health center or a community-based health center. And, for most of the women that we saw, they have limited transportation, they have limited childcare, they're limited on resources. And so instead of sending them all over town to go here and go there for a referral, it just makes sense to send them to that one-stop place, that community health center or the federally qualified health center first. Not only can they get health care for themselves, but they can get health care for their children there. Most of them have dental care. They have vision care most of the time. They usually have an on-site pharmacy. So it just makes sense for us to send women who particularly have limited resources to the one place where they can actually get all of their needs met. We know that only about 25% of our referrals actually followed through with their referral appointments. So 75% of those women who actually did have healthcare needs that needed to be addressed never went. They never took us up on the referral. They never went to that FQHC. So that means they have lingering health problems now that went untreated because they were limited in their resources. So it makes more sense, and it's actually better healthcare for women to send them to that one stop that can help them.
Well, what about women who are just going into this place for a well-woman exam or for STD testing?
That has been very successful for me, actually, in front of a Planned Parenthood, to offer this information and to let them know that there are alternatives, that, this facility isn't safe, it's not clean, they don't sterilize their instruments. You're just going in here for a pap smear, you could leave with an infection that you didn't come in here with. And they're like, what? And so a lot of people don't realize that these things are happening, even the workers. We have many workers who say, we didn't know what the results of our inspections were. We never knew whether we had deficiencies or not. So this information is vital. It's vital.
Well, and I would think it would be even more effective with somebody getting a pap smear who could just as easily get a pap smear somewhere else.
Oh, yeah, and for a lot less money. A federally qualified health center, a community health center, which you've got great links on your site, and we have the same resources on our site as well. So the two of us working together, we're giving them all the information they can get.
Right.
And so federally qualified health centers usually outnumber Planned Parenthoods 20-1,
right.
And they offer comprehensive services. They don't just offer, abortion and birth control. These are services that your whole family can access. Your children can be seen there. There's substance abuse recovery services, even dental and vision. And a lot of people don't realize that.
Well, a lot of people don't even know that they're there because they don't have an advertising budget.
Right.
And they don't have the local name recognition.
Yes, that's true.
But
now, all federally qualified health centers do need to be vetted.
Yes.
So if you are an advocate, or you work in a PRC, or you're just a person trying to help someone who's in crisis, you want to make that call for her in advance, so that you know that the services that she needs are actually provided there when they're provided, because they're not all provided every day. And then that she's going to hear a yes, and she's not going to get another referral for an abortion back to a Planned Parenthood.
So I really think that the more we can do to offer the things that people actually need, and the more that they know about the fact that those things are there, the more damage we can do to,
The more damage we can undo.
yeah. No, you're right. The more damage we can undo.
Right. Planned Parenthood has the advertising budget, they have the name recognition, the local community health center doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
So there would be things to do to let women know.
From the top and the bottom, like you're saying, the advertising, but also, grassroots, one-on-one. Word of mouth is amazing.
So for a Planned Parenthood referral clinic, you only need to remove about 10% of their clients in order for their clinics to close down, because their referral clinics are essentially loss leaders anyway. They're not making a lot of money on birth control. They're not making a lot of money on STD testing, and they're really very rarely providing cervical cancer screening, pap smears, things like that. It's not happening as often as they would like you to believe it's happening. So if you remove 10%, if you can get 10% of their clientele into a CHC or an FQHC or a hospital health system or whatever it may be, a county health department, if you can remove 10% of their business, that's enough to get those clinics to close, because they're already running in the red. So they are a loss leader, and they are feeding women into the abortion providing clinics, which is always in the black. That's always going to be their profit center, that abortion service. That's going to be where they're making the majority of their money. So if we can just take away 10% of their business, get women to better health providers anyway, places where we're going to receive better health care anyway, if we can just do that 10% of the time, those clinics will close.
If the pregnancy care centers were expanded, that they could be more comprehensive in terms of women's care, that would be beautiful. There are also some centers in the city where I live that are run by groups of doctors, Christian doctors and nurses and staff who are there to, offer different types of medical care, which, I think is in this day and age of,
Well, and it's also,
healthcare.
there are community health centers which, by definition, don't do abortions. They're
Right.
federally qualified, and there would be comprehensive care there. And in some cases, they're already there.
Yes.
So they don't need to be expanded. What about the clinics that are in fact doing abortions and therefore do have that cash flow? What kind of impact would a campaign to get the non-pregnant people out of there have on those kinds of centers?
So Planned Parenthood is always trying to sell abortion, particularly at their abortion centers. So our goal is to get them out of the abortion clinic that has an interest in selling them an abortion down the road. So, if they want to get STD testing, if they want to get contraceptives, if they want to get an annual exam, we don't want them to get that from Planned Parenthood, because Marketing 101 tells us that if they do become pregnant, then if they are in a crisis pregnancy, they're more likely to go back to that first point of contact. We don't want that to be Planned Parenthood. We want that to be a federally qualified health center where they are less likely to actually receive an abortion referral, where they can get prenatal care, where they can actually be taken care of, where their baby can get all their vaccines and their baby can get checkups, child checkups as well. So we want that first point of contact to be outside of Planned Parenthood, even for their basic health care needs that don't involve abortion.
But also if they're not pregnant yet.
Right. Yeah, if they don't know.
Well, or if they're not going to be pregnant for 2 years yet, but they're going in for an STD test.
Yeah.
We want to get them out of Planned Parenthood's orbit.
Right. Yeah, we want to take them away from the facility because they're eventually going to become an abortion patient, a customer. 96%. It used to be 92%, but now we know it's 96% of women who enter into a Planned Parenthood pregnant leave without their baby.
Right, but what about the women who enter that aren't pregnant? And don't even think that they are. They're there for the other services that have nothing to do with pregnancy.
Yeah, and they're establishing that relationship. And so once you've gone there for this and they've helped you already, naturally the next time you're in a situation, this is where I'm going to go. So.
And you want that this is where I'm going to go.
To go away.
Well, that to be the community health center instead of the Planned Parenthood?
Right.
Most Planned Parenthoods are located in inner cities and near universities where they can, make the most amount of money. And from my position as a Black American, I see them in vicinities where they can actually, take advantage of more Black babies than they would if they were located, say, in the suburbs.
What kind of impact do you think it would have on the Planned Parenthood centers? Because you're familiar with them. I mean, this is not conjecture. What kind of impact would it have if the women who had been coming in for STD tests and birth control and well women exams, breast exams, and all that, went and got them somewhere else? What impact would that have on the places that only refer and on the places that do abortions?
Well, on abortion referral facilities, it would devastate them. They wouldn't have any business. They would have to close because they're not profit. They're loss centers. They're a liability to Planned Parenthood because abortion is their moneymaker. Even Cecile Richards said 86% of their profits come from abortion. She's on record as saying that in front of our federal court. So for Planned Parenthood, a facility that doesn't perform abortions does not make a profit. And so for them, that's a loss center. So if they're not providing any other services, then there's nothing coming into that center. It's just an outlet. And so, if women aren't going there for well woman exams, if they're not going there for their family planning services, their birth control, to get referrals for mammograms or any breast exams or STD testing, then they would essentially shut down. And that would be about 200 centers in our country.
Yes, it's
on average.
It's 217 at last count.
There are about 80 Planned Parenthood centers that don't have a community health center within 5 miles. So what do you think would happen if the pro-lifers in the area saw to it that it wasn't just for pregnant women, but for all services that Planned Parenthood provides? What it would do if they made sure that there was some form of comprehensive care within those 5 miles?
Oh, I think absolutely. I find that from working in the pregnancy care center, and I'm not saying that that's the end all and be all, but from working in the pregnancy care center, what I find is that the more people know, the more educated they are really about what's going on, then they're more capable of making wiser decisions.
Would it really be necessary that we get everybody to go elsewhere? If we put a dent in, how much of a dent would it take, do you think?
We estimate that about 10% is what it would take to really even shut a Planned Parenthood down. 10% is all that it takes. And so we can be encouraged in our efforts that the one may walk away from us, the one that we turn away can be part of that 10%. And so, that's one thing that I always like to say to advocates is don't get discouraged. Every day that you're out there, every day that you're informing people on your college campus, so I know that a lot of college kids probably see this site, every day that you're informing your friends, the young people around you, you're adding to that 10%. And if we could just get 10%.
Well, and the thing is, if a woman who's going in for birth control doesn't hear you this time, but then decides next month to go to the other place, and you'd never even know because, you just gave her the information. That didn't change it today, but it still changed it later.
Right.
And of course,
you're planting a seed.
Well, and you don't, if you're doing it at a college, you have no idea how much you've diverted.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. Here's the thing. If we tell women the truth, we inform them and we tell them the truth. And maybe that day they don't make that decision to turn away, but they go inside that center and they receive treatment that just isn't ideal. They're not treated with dignity. They're not treated with respect. They will remember what you said and how you treated them and how you made them feel. And that's going to make a difference. And they'll go, you know what? That place sucked. I think I'm going to try what that nice lady on the sidewalk tried to tell me. You know, maybe it'll be better. So, yeah.
That is an excellent point.
Yeah.
That's a new one I hadn't thought of. But
It's one that I use a lot with advocates, just to encourage them. And like, hey, listen, you just continue to tell her the truth. All we do is we tell them, listen, when you go in there, this is what's going to happen. You're going to walk in, they're going to give you a number. You don't even become a name anymore. You become a number. You're dehumanized from the front already. You get a number, they give you a couple of pills for anxiety, you sit down, you're already feeling woozy, you know? And then the moment that they walk out of there, they come and they tell us, they're like, oh my gosh, you told me the truth. And so they look like liars, and we've told them the truth.
well, and also you've helped them frame their experience differently, because you've indicated that there might be something wrong with being treated like a number.
Exactly.
And
Your
they-
worth matters.
Right.
Your dignity matters. You're a person, regardless of what you believe, what choice you make, what decision you make. You're still a person, and it matters. You know, even if you choose something that conflicts with what I believe, you still matter. You still deserve to be treated with dignity.